Hello and welcome to the Counselor Updates and Enhancements Overview for April 2016. For those of you playing along at home, you'll notice that this is the second feature release that we've had this month. We've received a high number of really great suggestions coming in over the last few weeks and wanted to make sure and get those out to you as soon as possible. So like always with this review, we'll start with the Counselor Connect specific features and then we'll go to Counselor Complete OMS. So starting here, first off, this is for everyone of course, you're able to change the color scheme of your screen. So let's look at that. If you jump into your My Profile section under Administration, you can click on Display Options and then decide what your color combination, your preferred color combination is. So for example, you could say you want to soften the colors a little bit and go with the gray and blue or the gray and black. Let's just look at the gray and blue for an example. I'll click Close and then Save, and that's going to reset my screen image. So now I have gray instead of the strong black. Or of course I could keep changing this around to find the combination that I prefer the best. So you could say gray and black, for example. At any rate, you can kind of play around with that and find what looks the best for you. And there the blue is gone. Now it's a little bit softer. All right, let's move on here. You also have the ability now to copy a patient visit. So if you have a specific need to directly copy a patient visit, it will do so. In the patient visit screen, just click on the Actions menu and you'll see that the last option now says Copy Visit. Another minor but important change in the questionnaires, if you have a date field, the patient or the provider will be able to type directly into that data field. In the past, you had to use the calendar. Now the calendar feature is just optional. All right, so let's move on now to Counselor Complete OMS. So we're looking at now, we built in some functionality to add a full screen option for both the schedule and for all the business reports. In the schedule, you do need to be in the page mode in order for that to occur. In the business reports, that'll happen regardless. So for example, here, let's just show you in the business reports. I'll just jump into the invoice report generator, and you can see now, in fact, actually I didn't make the video quite wide enough for this. You do have more room to see more of the columns, and then of course still all the functionality to view additional information as you go along here. All right, so let's look then at the schedule option so we can show you what that looks like. Under Administration, we'll click on Schedule Options. And as I mentioned, it has to be in the page mode. So you would want to either, it will not go widescreen if you're in the pop-up mode. You need to be in the page, whether you decide to launch as a separate tab or not. You just need to be in this mode. Okay, the next change, I'll jump ahead here, is you also have the ability to change the week format. So you can do, previously you could just do Monday through Friday or Sunday through Saturday. Now there's a hybrid where you can do the business week, so Monday through Friday plus Saturday. Okay, and it's important that with the availability tool, it will also monitor what your status of your schedule is. So for example, if you're choosing the Monday through Saturday, it will note when you're available on Saturdays as well. Okay, so take that scope into effect when looking for your availability. All right, that was the next change here. Another couple quick things. So disable line items, the types, line items, referral types, those are no longer display on the drop-down list. So for example, if you're adding a new line item to an invoice, you will just see the active line items. You will not see the inactive line items or line item types. So that will shorten your lists up and make them a little easier to use. Now this will not affect previous invoices. So if you have a device, for example, that you have disabled and you go back to that invoice, that line item will still show the same way. So no changes there. So everything will work backwards compatible, but shorten your lists going forward. Also in that same regard, line item types, you can now disable and enable as needed. So in the past, you couldn't disable your line item lists. That's now been made much more flexible, so it helps you clean up your line item types and lists as well. So for example, if you had a whole entire line item type that you didn't wish to use anymore and there were several line items within it, you could simply disable the type and it will remove all of those from the enabled lists. All right, let's look on here then to the patient search. There are a few new options in the patient search screen where you can look by the referring physician. Let's just have a look at that real quick. Let's go Patients, search existing patients, and now you can say if you want to filter by a specific physician, either as a referring provider or as the primary provider. From there, once you've done your search, you can then elect to create letters, do emails right from this screen. Okay, so a little more flexibility there. All right, looking ahead here now, patient portal payments. If you use the integrated credit card processing through Charger Pro, you likely already know this. You have the ability for patients to make payments right through the patient portal. Now we added some features in to make it a little bit more easier to follow. So you can now track if a payment has been made through the portal. If you go back to the invoice on the payment screen, you'll see there's a little notation letting you know that the payment was made via the portal. In addition, you can add a minimum payment. So if you say, okay, the lowest payment we'll allow is $20 via the portal, you can set that up through the administration, and it's in the clinic list and advanced settings, and that lets you state that. And so someone couldn't make a $2 payment through the portal. You can restrict that. All right, moving ahead here. With the All-Well financing, we now added features where there can be a co-buyer added to the application. So it's right step-by-step part of the application wizard, very simple to do, but now you have the co-buyer option as well. Another minor thing with loaner devices, you can quickly identify the loaners both in the trial, when they're in trial, or if they are out for repair or any type of level for activity. So you'll notice here when we jump back to the dashboard that the loaner here, we can tell it's a loaner because it has a yellow background. And then if I jump down to the, and this is probably where you more commonly would see this, you could see from your list of devices that one of these is a loaner. Okay, so if you treat these differently, perhaps when they come back from repair, you may not send them right back to a patient. You may be just checking them in. This enables you to very quickly determine whether this is a device that actually belongs to the patient or is a loaner. All right, and then the last option on the list here, appointment availability. We made it a lot easier to see what your availability is coming up. So let's have a quick look at the schedule itself. As you may already know, there's the availability tool in the top of the screen. Once you open that up, as usual, you can see a list of times for each provider. But from there, you can go ahead and click more. Let's look at this for Lynn. And this will give the next 20 days where you can view, okay, so for a 60-minute appointment, where are the next available? So Lynn has quite a few opportunities that are open, so it wouldn't be hard to find an appointment for her. But if you did have a very busy schedule, it would enable you to look out for that certain time and jump ahead to a specific date where that time was available. So hopefully this is very easy to use as well. If you want to go back to the previous view, you simply just click back, and it will shrink that up again for you. All right. So that includes the entire list of changes and features. We have a lot more on the way, but please let us know if we can help in any way or if you'd like additional details on these changes. But thank you very much for all your wonderful ideas and input. Please keep them coming, and very likely you'll see them soon on Counselor. Have a great day.